how would I describe David Abbott? Very witty, wicked smart, and a great motivator.
He works tirelessly. You better put on your running shoes if you're going to work with Dave Abbott.
He's just a regular guy that likes to work hard at tough issues and then have a beer and have a laugh.
Actually, a lot of leaders, a lot of people ask me about approaching Dave or going to sit down with him. And what I always tell them is, like, don't take yourself too seriously. And I think, more importantly, to be honest.
He has a leadership style where he steps back and lets other people step forward and really motivates them and helps direct them to do their best.
I remember the very first project we worked on together was Playhouse Square, where the county agreed to become a major owner of Playhouse Square's buildings, which allowed Playhouse Square to then focus on actually renovating the theaters. And as we know, it's all been tremendous since then. But Dave was at the forefront of actually making that deal happen.
When you think about anything constructive that's happened in the city, over the last 20, 30 years, I would say Dave Abbott has, in some form or fashion, been involved in it.
Gateway was never an easy project. We had this old sports facility forever. Dave played an incredible role, again, from the county's position, working with the county commissioners, developing a coalition that ended up becoming what we now call Gateway. And when you think about the fact that that vote really only won by about, maybe less than 1/10%, and Dave was there from the beginning to put the deal together, to work on the campaign, and then to help make sure that the project actually happened. Dave was there throughout the whole process.
I've seen Dave up close the most in two capacities. One as the executive director of the Cleveland Bicentennial Commission, where we really had to accomplish a great deal in a very limited amount of time. We had about 2.5 years to plan 40 different projects to celebrate the city's bicentennial. Capital projects, neighborhood projects, education projects, large, small, neighborhood focused, I mean, you name it. And it required fast thinking, mobilization, working with people at all levels, fundraising, political, work and liaison. And Dave was just a guy who could always figure it out. He always had the right answers. He always knew who to call, how to push the right button. And that's a gift, that's a talent. Not everyone can do that. Dave's role with the Fund for Economic Future has been essential for a couple of reasons. One, he was one of the first funders to get involved. Secondly, he has worked tirelessly on committees, including working his way up to becoming the chairman of the fund. So he's been the person responsible for overseeing the activity all these years, and I think he's been a great leader in that regard.
When many of the early grantees were first created, BioEnterprise, Jumpstart, Team Neo, all of these organizations were viewed to be regional in scope. And yet, if they fell only on Cleveland funders, they weren't going to reach the kind of scale that was necessary. Dave's role in bringing foundations from around a larger region to the economic development table was phenomenal.
I think Dave Abbott would describe himself as a reporter first, an observer, very reflective. And I also think he would describe himself as a fantastic dad and husband.
I mean, I think he enjoys being a dad more than anything.
His wife, his family have always been a part of our family because for 30 years we've known each other. And he's always got a story about one of his sons, and they're never boring stories. There's always something different and unique about what language they're learning or where they're traveling or where Dave's going to visit them. Recently, I know, participating in a wedding in China.
I'd like to say that Dave Abbott's fingerprints are on so many important initiatives in our city's history.
To me, public service is not just about one sector. It's about an ability to be in the public sector in the not-for-profit sector, really bringing sides together. And that's what Dave's whole career has been.
Dave Abbott is really the ideal person for us to be recognizing. He has been a dedicated servant to this community for many decades and in so many different capacities in the private sector, in the public sector, and in the nonprofit sector. And through it all, he's really been a public servant.